Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel Coffee Tea Paper. My name's Louise and today I have my Ferris Wheel Press ambassador hat on. We're going to review this ink. It's Pressman Grey and it's a professional calligraphy ink is how Ferris Wheel Press refers to it. I have reviewed some of these inks before and they're not like fountain pen inks. In fact, they're more like a paint than an ink. And as such, please don't use them in your fountain pens. They will ruin your fountain pens. It would be like putting paint in them. So keep them well away. Dip pens, paint brushes, glass pens, anything that you can dip and wash that doesn't fill a reservoir, that's the thing. These are quite opaque, so they're often used on dark cardstocks, particularly the lighter ones. I suspect this one might show up nicely on a piece of black or dark cardstock, and I meant to get a piece out and of course I forgot. So let's just open the box and then we'll read a bit about the blurb. So you can see they come in a different bottle, and you can also see here that the pigment has separated. So they do need to be lightly agitated, I would say, not vigorously shaken, because they do end up with air bubbles in it, which is not the best. So while we're gently agitating the ink, let's have a little read about it. So this is from the Fanciful Events collection, Pressman Grey Calligraphy ink. It's launching on the 6th of September, and as always you can use, if this really grabs your fancy, or perhaps you've seen something else on the Ferris Wheel Press website, you can use my code JA-CTP for 15% off. If you have another Ferris Wheel Press ambassador who you follow regularly and you would prefer to use their code, please do. Just don't ever pay full price, right? That's my tip. Anyway, professional calligraphy ink made for life's most memorable celebrations. Embark on a new extraordinary venture alongside Griselda Barrington and her business partner Barclay Berry as they plan the grand opening for their letterpress print shop. With ink-covered paws and hearts brimming with creativity, they meticulously typeset their bespoke invites, preparing to unveil their creation to the world. Let this lead grey ink inspire your next journey filled with creativity and friendship. Whether you're penning a letter to a loved one, creating an exquisite invitation, or simply enjoying the art of penmanship, fall in love with writing again with the new Fanciful Events Calligraphy ink collection. So, notable design details include beautifully illustrated letterpress tools grace the sides of the box. Among them this is an interesting word I have not come across, a coin key, Quoin, a brayer for applying ink, I have one of those, and a multitude of unsorted types. So types as in probably letters. Oh, I can see all over the box. Yes. Barclay, a stickler for old techniques, inks up his chase with an old-fashioned ink ball. Not always the cleanest way to print. Huh. In preparation for the grand opening, Griselda sorts the unsorted type. Sometimes the type is so small compared to bare hands she had to use a magnifying glass to get a good look. Okay, so that's a bit of a fun story about setting the ink in the context of the Ferris Wheel Press world. As with all the calligraphy inks, opaque pastel formulated for legibility on black paper stock. It's waterproof acrylic, smudge resistant, light fast, 28 milliliters of ink in each bottle, has a silicone stopper to prolong the life, but all the Ferris Wheel Press bottles do. And yes, for use with dip pens, calligraphy nibs, brushes, etc. And the care instructions too, which I won't read out here, but they read like care instructions for paint. So let's do our swatches. I've tried agitating it the whole time I've been reading that, and we can still see that there's some parts that perhaps are a little reluctant. And I will put this in here. These are my other calligraphy inks, and even I have made a note to myself, not for use in fountain pens, not for use in fountain pens. Just to really make sure that I am paying attention. I like these little calligraphy ink bottles. I find they are quite sturdy, and they remind me a bit of old-fashioned salt and pepper shakers. So they're probably not quite as pretty, one could say, as the standard Ferris Wheel Press bottle, but I think they're very, very sturdy and serviceable, which when you're dealing with an ink which is a painterly ink, yeah, it's helpful. So you can see too, like even as it goes on, it doesn't really behave like an ink as such. And it has that smell too, like that smell, acrylic paint smell. So something to keep in mind if you don't like strong smells or that sort of acrylic paint smell. Yeah, could be one to just be wary of. And I am using here one of my dip pens, and this dip pen is just a plastic body, and the nib is not an expensive one by any means, because I don't want to, I would never use my Kakamori nib, for example. And I will get out some black paper in a minute. One thing is interesting about this calligraphy ink is it does give sort of a three-dimensional finish, like it kind of sits up on the paper. And this is the very last page in my ink swatching journal. I've been using the Traveler's Notebook lightweight paper for this one. Grey is always an interesting word, isn't it? Because both spellings are correct. G-R-E-Y, G-R-A-Y, and how did we end up with two spellings for grey? Oh my gosh, I always do this. Always put two F's in professional and there's only one. Oh, awful, awful. Oh well. Just pretend you can only see one F. I think probably because they're so fun to write as well. Okay, you can only see one. Now I'll just pause there while I quickly put my hands on some black paper stock, and we'll do a little writing test on that as well, just to ensure ourselves that it is actually opaque. Okay, I've got a bit of a scrap piece of finish cardstock. I think I may have used this for a recent birthday card. We've had lots of birthdays to celebrate lately, and so I've been making lots of cards for the various birthday recipients. Let's start all the way over here. Now I will be cleaning my nib off with some water, and then anything that doesn't come off, some isopropyl alcohol. That's what's recommended. So we'll do that. I'm just going to make sure that I insert this stopper and get this lid on. So I am not by any stretch of the imagination a professional calligrapher, as you can tell. My letters are not consistent and there's a fair amount of wonky, but I try. But I think this looks very nice on, this is not black, this is like a, not even quite a charcoal, but a mid-toned grey, and it actually looks quite sophisticated on that, I think. I'm not sure you'd want to write a whole letter on it, but it could make for a very elegant place card setting. If you're going for perhaps a monochromatic theme for a dinner party or something along those lines, I think that would be really quite smart looking. As you can see on normal paper, I don't know, look, I'm not adverse to a grey ink, but it's I think it's a little bit ho-hum on the white paper. I think where these inks really shine is on dark backgrounds, and I think with this grey, it was just a happy accident that I chose this mid-toned grey paper to try on, but I think that actually looks really quite elegant and something a bit different, not just like a stark white. I think it even made my writing look a bit nicer. Maybe I tried harder. I don't know. One thing to keep in mind is they do, like when I do a swatch like that, they do get quite streaky. So that's, I wouldn't be using it so much as an art medium, but I do think on, yeah, you know, place cards, envelopes, you know, which professional calligraphy people are going to do, really, aren't they? I think it would be a very nice addition to your collection. If you're like me, I would never use this to write a pen pal letter, for example. It's too much hard work, to be honest. But I could definitely see myself getting this ink out for the Christmas table, for example, place setting cards. Anyway, on that note, I will do some finish up with some close-ups so you can have a look in more detail at the ink itself. Once again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for watching. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. It helps me to bring ink reviews and reviews of other ink related products to you. You know how it works. You hit the subscribe button and the like button and all those things. I don't tend to say it very often. I'm not very good at it. I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.